Hello everyone. Welcome back to Old Charles, the channel where we explore the fascinating world of coins, their history, and their true value in today's market. In today's video, we're going to talk about a very interesting coin, the United States 1 cent from 1988. At first glance, it might just look like another ordinary penny, but trust me, there's a lot more to it than you might think. The 1988 Lincoln cent is part of a long-running Lincoln Memorial cent series, which began in 1959 and continued until 2008. This design replaced the original Lincoln wheat cent that had been in circulation since 1909. The obverse, or front of the coin, features the famous portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. You'll notice the inscriptions "In God We Trust" across the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1988. On the right side and on the reverse, we see the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. If you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can even spot a tiny image of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, a detail that many casual collectors often miss now. In terms of composition, the 1988 penny was made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. This change to a zinc core started back in 1982 because copper had become too expensive. So while older pennies have a solid copper core, these post-1982 coins are much lighter and cheaper to produce. In 1988, the U.S. Mint produced these pennies at 3 different locations. Over 6.16 billion coins were struck. Over 5.25 billion coins were minted, which struck proof coins for collectors, with about 3 million proof coins made. That means there were well over 11 billion 1988 pennies released into circulation, making this one of the most common coins of the decade. So, let's talk about value. The part everyone is waiting for, because billions of these coins were made. Most 1988 pennies are only worth face value, 1 cent if they've been circulated. You'll find them in your pocket change, old jars, or coin rolls. However, the story changes when we talk about condition and special varieties. A regular 1988 penny in circulated condition, 1 cent in uncirculated condition, with no wear and strong luster. Anywhere from 25 cents to $1 in high mint state grades, MS 65 or higher, between $2 and $10, depending on demand. Proof versions from San Francisco can range from $2 to $5, and if graded PR 69 or PR 70, they can fetch much more among collectors. One of the most exciting things about 1988 pennies is that there are some variety and error coins to look for. 1988 wide AM, reverse of 1989 ***. On some 1988 pennies, the spacing between the letters and M in America is wider than normal. This variety is extremely rare and highly collectible, sometimes selling for hundreds of dollars in high grades. Double die errors ***. Some 1988 cents have noticeable doubling on the date or lettering. Values vary depending on the strength of the doubling, but can reach $50 to $200. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other mint errors ***. These can make your coin much more valuable, often ranging anywhere from $20 to several $100, depending on the error type and how dramatic it is. When we talk about value, condition matters a lot. Collectors use a system called the Sheldon Coin Grading Scale, which goes from poor P1 all the way to mint state. If your 1988 penny is scratched, worn, and dull, it's only worth 1 cent. If it has full red luster and no signs of circulation, it could be worth a few dollars. And if you happen to have a rare variety in top condition, you might be sitting on a coin worth hundreds. Always check your pennies carefully with good lighting and magnification, especially for that famous wide AM variety. To sum it up, the 1988 United States 1 cent coin is usually common and worth only a penny. But in uncirculated grades, proof condition, or with rare errors, it can be worth much more, sometimes even hundreds of dollars. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Even the most ordinary-looking coin in your pocket might have hidden value if you know what to look for. We're focusing on the United States 1 cent from 1988. At first glance, it might just look like another common penny, but it carries with it an incredible history stretching back nearly a century. To truly understand the 1988 penny, we need to go back all the way to the year 1909. That was the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Up until then, U.S. 1 cent coins featured designs like the Indian head cent, But in 1909, the Mint made a historic change. They introduced the Lincoln cent, making Lincoln the very first U.S. president to appear on a circulating American coin. The original design was created by Victor David Brenner, a Lithuanian-American engraver. On the obverse, Brenner placed Lincoln's portrait facing right, with the word liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust." On the reverse, he designed two simple wheat stalks, which gave the coin its nickname. The Lincoln wheat cent from 1909 to 1958, the wheat ears remained on the back of the coin, and these pennies became iconic. They were struck in 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving them a heavier feel and richer color than modern cents. Collectors still treasure wheat cents today. But in 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse design was changed. The Lincoln Memorial replaced the wheat stalks. This design was created by Frank Gasparo, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. The memorial design had a special hidden detail. If you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can actually see a tiny image of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. This made the penny unique. Lincoln was honored both on the obverse and the reverse. The memorial cent ran from 1959 all the way to 2008, and the 1988 penny is part of this long-running series. But the story doesn't end there. In the early 1980s, the Mint faced another challenge. The price of copper skyrocketed, and it actually cost more than a cent to produce each penny. So in 1982, the Mint changed the composition from a solid copper alloy to a cheaper copper-plated zinc core. The new formula was 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. This is the composition of the 1988 penny you see today. So, by the time we reached 1988, the penny had already gone through nearly 80 years of evolution, from wheat ears to the memorial, from heavy copper to lightweight zinc. Billions were being produced each year, making the Lincoln cent the most familiar coin in America. The year 1988 itself falls toward the late Cold War era in U.S. history. Ronald Reagan was president, and the economy was in recovery after inflation troubles of the 1970s. Pennies continued to be produced in massive numbers, partly because Americans were still using them daily in cash transactions. Even though inflation had lowered the buying power of a cent, it was still considered a key part of commerce. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. A 1988 penny might look like just another coin from your pocket, but the way collectors and grading companies evaluate its condition can completely change its value. Collectors use what's known as the Sheldon Coin Grading Scale, which ranges from poor P1 to a perfect mint state MS70. Let's break this down in detail at this stage. The coin is so worn that details of Lincoln's portrait and the memorial on the reverse are almost unrecognizable. A 1988 penny in this condition has no extra value. It's only worth 1 cent. Lincoln's outline is visible, but most details are worn smooth. The lettering and date are still readable. Most 1988 pennies in circulation today fall into this low-grade range. Here, more detail in Lincoln's hair and coat is visible. On the reverse, you'll see some features of the memorial columns, though they are still worn. A coin like this may catch a collector's eye, but is usually only worth a few cents. At this stage, Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat show good detail. The memorial still has sharp lines, though slight where is noticeable. In this grade, the coin may fetch up to 25 cents or more. Now, we're entering collector territory. These coins have just the faintest signs of wear on Lincoln's cheekbones, jawline, or the highest points of the memorial. Coins in AU condition can sell for $1 or more. This is where condition matters most. Mint state coins have no wear from circulation and are graded on their luster, strike quality, and absence of marks. Now, even within mint state, there are differences. The coin has mint luster, but may show many bag marks or dullness. Fewer marks, decent luster, attractive coin. Gem quality. Strong strike, bright luster, only tiny imperfections. These coins can bring $5 to $15 at auctions. Nearly flawless coins with full blazing luster. These are rare for 1988 pennies and can be worth $50 to several $100s, especially if graded by top companies like PCGS or NGC. Another huge factor in value is color designation. Since the 1988 penny is made of copper-plated zinc, The thin copper layer reacts with air and moisture over time. Collectors divide cents into 3 categories. These coins retained their original bright red copper color, looking almost like the day they were minted. Red coins are highly prized and can bring the highest value. These coins show a mix of red luster and darker brown toning. They're less valuable than fully red coins, but still attractive. These pennies have lost their original red luster, turning chocolate or dark brown from oxidation. Most circulated 1988 pennies fall in this category and are worth only face value .so. A 1988 penny graded MS 65 brown might only sell for $1, while the same coin in MS 65 red could sell for $10 or more. When grading condition, collectors also look at strike quality. Was a coin struck sharply with all details visible, or is it weak in certain areas? For the 1988 penny, some coins show softer strikes, especially around Lincoln's hair and the memorial steps. Then there's eye appeal, how attractive the coin looks overall. Even 2 coins of the same grade can be valued differently if one has brighter luster, fewer spots, or better centering. Collectors always pay more for coins that look beautiful in hand. Because condition makes such a big difference, many collectors send their best 1988 pennies to third-party grading services like PCGS, NGC, or Annex. These companies examine the coin, assign it a grade, and seal it in a protective holder, also called a * slab for common pennies like 1988. It usually isn't worth grading unless the coin is an MS 67 or higher, or if it's a rare variety like the 1988 wide AM. A slab coin gives buyers confidence that they're paying for true quality .so. When it comes to the 1988 penny, condition can mean the difference between 1 cent and hundreds of dollars. A worn, brown coin from circulation is worth its face value. But a brilliant red mint state coin, especially with a rare error, can be a real treasure in any collection. Always handle coins carefully, avoid cleaning them, and use proper storage to preserve their condition. Remember, in coin collecting, condition is king. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Old Charles for more coin history, values, and collecting tips. Drop a comment if you've got a shiny red penny from 1988. You might just have something special.